Hello, I'm Darielle Snipes with the CMSD News Bureau with a remote edition of Talk to the CEO. Eric Gordon, the district's CEO and superintendent, joins me now with an update on what remote learning for the first 9 weeks of school will look like and what parents, students, and caregivers should do to start the school year off right. Hi, Eric. It's nice to see you on the computer screen this time rather than in person. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing good. So let's get to the questions. Many parents are wondering how their children will receive a device for the remote learning and what will happen if there are multiple children in a home. Will all the students receive a device?
Yeah, so starting August 17th, we will begin resuming our device distribution like we did last spring. We have been purchasing all summer long, so we do expect that every student will have his or her own device. Kindergarten, first and second grade students will have iPads, and then we will use Chromebooks or laptops for our older kids. We will actually be reaching out to families during student parent teacher conferences to determine what devices are needed, and then they'll be able to report to their school during a resource pickup to pick up their device and if they needed a hotspot as well.
Wonderful. So just to be clear, parents don't need to call the school will call them.
That's right. So we will be reaching out over the next 3 weeks, starting with our year-round schools on the August 17th, and then the rest of our schools the week of August 24th. We will be contacting every family and making sure they have the tools that they need.
And I know you just said that the district will be handing out hotspots along with the devices to make sure that families have that connectivity to do the assignments. But the district is also working with the nonprofit Digital C for a more permanent solution so that families can have reliable high-speed internet. How can families sign up for that service if they want it?
So Digital C is being coming out to the community in phases. So families should wait until we reach out to them. They should look for something called Empower CMSD. The district will be reaching out and offering the families the opportunity to become a subscriber to Digital C. While the family is a member of the district, having children in the district's actually going to pay the fee, the $19 a month fee. So they would get an invoice saying $19 charged, $19 credit, zero owed. And then at a point that they would separate from the district because their child graduated, for example, they would be able to pick up that low term cost and keep it going forward. Until then, parents should stay on the hotspots that we have available, and we'll let families know when their neighborhood has access to the Digital C partnership.
Great. Now, just in case some things happen, but if a parent does not receive a call, at what point should they call the school to get the hotspots or get the devices?
I would say calling the week before school starts, because the teacher conferences will be happening that week before school starts. So we need to continue to message that they're coming, to be patient, and wait for that parent-teacher conference. But if you don't hear by the week before school, then you would want to call your school first. And then if not the school, then call our technology department. We have a hotline for IT, and people can also access directly at 838-0000, which is our main number.
That's good information. I know a lot of parents have been contacting us about that specifically. So teachers have been working hard this summer to get ready for the remote learning and are currently receiving training on the new online learning platform that will be happening during the remote learning. What is that platform and how are the educators making sure that the lessons will be high quality and engaging?
So we have purchased a platform called Schoology. I encourage parents and students to think of it as like your online banking portal. Everything is inside of it, so it's a one-stop shop. Our content curriculum specialists and our model lead teachers from across the district have been creating units and a scope and sequence of instruction for every grade and subject that will be preloaded. And then teachers are spending about 2 weeks in training, learning how to use the tool, how to create their own content, including videoing content, that sort of thing, and loading it into the platform as well. Once it's operational, students will have classes where they know that at 9 o'clock I'm scheduled to see Ms. Snipes, and at 10 o'clock I'm seeing Mr. Gordon. But they'll also have breaks of time where they work on their own. So they'll go back into the portal on their own time to complete assignments, to work on projects, to watch a video tutorial, maybe to rewatch the class to make sure that they understood the content as well. So teachers are actively learning the new platform now, getting a lot of positive feedback, and they're very excited and looking forward to using it as a new way to communicate with our kids.
Wonderful. So we know the students might have experienced the summer slide, and it might be a little bit greater since the spring was remote learning as well. How will educators and the district assess each student to know where they stand and if they meet the standards for their grade?
So one of the first things that students will be doing inside of the Schoology portal is completing something called Exact Path. An Exact Path actually is the quick assessment that helps them know exactly where they are and helps the teacher know where they are so that they're able to pick up with their unfinished learning. And we're really approaching this from an asset orientation. So there's a lot of people talking about lost learning. We didn't lose the ability to learn. We lost time to learn. And so what we have to do is say, where is your child in learning to read? Where did that learning stop? And how do we continue that learning from there? As opposed to this lost learning notion, which suggests you're never going to learn to read. So we will be individualizing for each child, and then teachers will be creating their lesson content to pick up where they left off and move them forward.
So let's talk about the Scholars Day and what that'll look like during remote learning. Do we know when classes will begin for specific grades or schools, and how long will they be in front of a computer, and will they have breaks?
So for the virtual environment, we've actually created a standard school day so that all families can count on it. Our school offices will be open from 8 to noon and 1 to 4 to be available for families who have questions, who want to reach their school, want to get a message to teachers, counselors, principals, that sort of thing. Our teachers will be able to go into schools from 8:15 in the morning until 3:30 p.m. so that they can work from their classrooms. They can show live content right out of their classrooms. And so they'll work both back and forth remotely and in their classrooms. And then the standard student day will be in a window of 8:30 to 3 o'clock, where parents can know that's when teacher contact time is likely to occur. Now, inside of that, you're not going to be on a screen 8:30 to 3. That's way too long. But you can expect that a student might have a 30-minute class from 8:30 to 9, and then may have a break where they're working on their own from like 9 to 9:25. And then they may have a 9:25 to 10:15 where they're checking in on math, as an example. And then they have another period where they're working on their own or taking a break. They'll have a lunch break. They'll have brain breaks. So we're working to really make sure that you're not sitting in front of a screen the entire time. And we will also differentiate. Older kids will have more screen time or more length of time. Younger kids will have shorter periods of time to make sure their content is delivered for them. We're also going to be recording those lessons and pushing them into the Schoology tool so that if for some reason you just can't be on when your class is, you can come back and revisit that lesson. Or if you want to watch the lesson again to make sure you understood it, you can go back and revisit it that way as well.
Great. So you mentioned that the school buildings will be open during remote learning. If a parent or caregiver needs to go into the building for some reason, should they do a walk-up or should they call and make an appointment? Are they able to access the building as well?
Yes, our buildings are open for parents and caregivers who have a need to come to school. We would ask that you call the school and make an appointment. That's for social distancing and health protocols. But if you do show up, we will not turn you away. We will make sure that you are safely waiting while we take care of any other guests that are in the school, and then move you through the offices as is appropriate. So if you need to speak to the principal personally, you need enrollment support, what have you. But we've also worked really hard to make nearly everything automated. And so, for example, in enrollment, you can now submit all of your documents online by taking pictures of them. If you're going to update your address, you can take a picture of the confirmation of the new address and you can submit that electronically. So we've really done a lot to try to make it easier for kids and families to safely stay home, but still interact fully with their school.
And if a parent or caregiver does show up to the school, are masks required, mandated?
Masks are required for everybody who is coming to our schools, as is an active health assessment. So if you do not have a mask, we will provide you with one. And when you arrive, you will get a touchless temperature screen, and that is true for everyone, including me. No one is exempt. You will also get a quick survey of, have you had any symptoms and that sort of thing before you're admitted in the school. And we are asking everybody to be in this together. So we're not looking to get into, mask policing or anything, but we really want to make sure you wear a mask, you stay that 6 feet socially distant, you honor the health screen so that we can keep our professionals safe and our families and caregivers as well.
And now back to the online platform. Will it work for English language learners or students with learning disabilities? How is the district going to support some students who just remote learning just doesn't work for them?
Well, so Schoology is the main platform for all of our students, and of course that includes students with disabilities and English learners. But then we have to support the individual needs of those young people. And so, for example, we have already released guidance about how we will review every IEP to determine what can be done remotely. If there's any service that can't be done remotely, how will we provide that in a live setting? We think that that is for a small number of students, but we don't think that there is no case. We also purchased teletherapy tools so that we can provide occupational therapy, speech language pathology therapy, physical therapy, and other things that we would normally do in school. We're working very closely with members of our bilingual community, Refugee Response, Catholic Charities, Global Cleveland, and others, so that we have additional supports for English language learners. And we'll be producing support materials and resources for those families, including IT support for those families as well.
So some parents are stressed or wondering how they're going to assist children during their school day when they're working from home or they have to go out of the home to go to work. What are your expectations or the district's expectations for parents during remote learning?
So for families, we have three expectations, and hopefully they are really easy expectations. One is be the best mom and dad you can, be the best caregiver you can. I am not asking any family to become an expert sixth grade math teacher. I'm asking you to be a great mom or dad of a sixth grader. And so all I want you to do is the best you can do. And if that means the best you can do is to get Darielle to turn her homework in today, fantastic, we'll take that. If tomorrow you can get Darielle to actually do a little extra reading too, great, we'll take that as well. But I'm not asking you to suddenly become expert or to stress about the fact that you're not. Our teachers are here, we're ready to help, we're excited for the year ahead. Number two is to remember that everything is a learning experience. But the best way to make learning experiences occur as a parent is to talk out loud about what you're doing, have a dialogue and stay engaged. So if you're cooking, invite your child to cook with you and talk about what you're doing. Talk about the measurements, read the ingredients on the package, read the directions out loud. Talk about the moves you're making out loud, that you're bringing the water to a boil and that you do that putting high heat on and putting a lid on the pan. So just taking what is your internal processing and making it visible to the learner, your student, is really valuable. And then the three is don't be ashamed to ask for help. None of us have lived through a pandemic. You haven't, and I haven't, and we're all in this together. We have a lot of help supports, and we're pushing out to our family. We have a COVID-19 hotline if you're just curious about your own health or the health of your child, or if you have been diagnosed and want support. We have a social and emotional learning hotline if you're just stressed and you need somebody to talk to. We have an IT hotline if your computer's not working, if you don't know your password. We have multilingual supports, students with disability supports, and anything. And we want to be helpful. So again, be the best parent you can be. Use every opportunity to make your day a learning moment and ask for that help when you need it. And we're going to get through this together.
And just want to say that all that information can be found on the CMSD website, all those numbers in case someone is looking for those, correct?
They'll all be on the website. We're also mailing them directly to every home so that you have a card to put right on the refrigerator so that when you do need us, we're there. Because you know what happens is we send out the help card when you don't need help. Then the day comes where you're like, ooh, I do need help. Where's the card? So we're going to try to keep that in front of all of our families through a direct mail, through website, and through constant reminders in all of our social media and electronic reaches as well.
So what is the district prepared to do if families do have to go to work and they just don't have anywhere for their children to go during the school day?
Couple of things that we're working on. First of all, we do plan to record the classes that students are taking so that if they have to go somewhere during the day and have other care, they can still go back and view those lessons in the evening. So while we want them actively engaged in their class, we do understand that's not always going to be practical. Secondly, we are working with a large number of out-of-school time providers who are actively working to make safe seats available for kids to go to during the day for families who have to go to work, so that you could go to a Boys and Girls Club or a library or After School All-Stars or Open Doors Academy or any number of partners that are out there who really want to make sure we're taking good care of kids. And so each school will be provided a list of the programs and seats that are available. And we're working really closely with those partners to make as many seats available as possible.
Wonderful. So, but with all that said, students, will they still be graded? Will attendance be taken during the Schoology platform?
Students will be taking attendance and will be graded. So we will be checking in and monitoring who's online, who's attending their classes, who's completing the homework as their additional classwork, and we will be looking for you if you're missing. So we really need everybody back and deeply engaged, and students will be graded. This is real school. So this is not last spring, and I want to be really clear. There's a big difference from what happened last spring and what's happening now. Last spring, we had almost no notice that we were to go on a 3-week extended spring break. That was the language. And then we were told to close schools and keep students enriched and engaged. And we did a great job of trying to do that, but that's not school. We are still under an emergency, but we knew this was coming and we planned all summer for school. So we are opening school, although remotely, opening school. We will have classes, there will be grades, there will be attendance. We need to all come back to school, even though coming back to school might be from moving from your bedroom into the living room where you're taking your classes.
Definitely no traffic jam when you're moving from your bedroom to the living room, for sure. But what about standardized tests? Will they be expected to take a standardized test this fall or this year?
Well, the district is hoping to minimize any of the tests that we would normally give and use more formative assessments that teachers would already be giving through the Schoology platform. But we do know that right now the state still is going to require standardized testing, although the testing may not count in the same ways. That could change. There is both state and national advocacy to rethink that. But right now, Ohio does plan to administer those tests, and we should be prepared for them unless something changes in the future.
Understand. Now, will families be able to still access the Say Yes to Education wraparound services that they had before the pandemic began?
Absolutely. Not only can families still access them, we've expanded into 26 more schools. So many more families will have access to the Say Yes resources. Every one of those Say Yes schools has a family support specialist. So you'll be able to call the school and talk directly to the family support specialist. And they can help with any of the things I've talked about, but they can also help with basic needs, need additional food support, or need a new pair of eyeglasses, or any kind of other thing, housing stability. Anything we can help with, those Say Yes family support specialists will be there to help. And they're now in 42 schools across the city. And just as a reminder, we're going to get all the way to every one of our schools in 2 more years.
So year-round schools are set to begin on August 24th and traditional schools on September 8th. Now, the district is going to have a reopening 3-prong plan for families, caregivers, and students. What can they expect the week before school is set to begin?
Yep. So what families should expect is right now, our educators have begun engaging in what's going to be 2 to 2.5 weeks of professional learning to get ready for this remote learning environment. That is a lot more time than we're ever able to dedicate. And so it shows the importance of really having our teachers prepared to support our students and families well. Secondly, we have a week of events planned for families, and it'll actually stretch over about a 2-week period. So first, families should expect to be invited to their school's back to school open house. That will be virtual. It will be a meeting on a Zoom or something like that, where you'll get to meet your principal, you'll get to meet your Say Yes coordinator if you have one at your school, maybe meet some of the community providers that are working to provide childcare support from your school, meet your teachers, get a sense of how the year is going to work, get a demonstration of Schoology, have some questions answered, when's our technology pickup, all of those sorts of things. That will happen about 2 weeks before school starts. So for year-round schools, starting August 17th, for the other schools, the week of August 24th. Second, you should expect that parent-student-teacher conference, where every teacher is going to reach out and help develop what I'm calling a care plan, and really focusing on 3 areas. One, your educational needs. So do you have the tools you need for your education? Do you have school supplies? Do you have the technology you need? Do you know how to log in? Do you have a place to work in your home? Those sorts of things. 2 is family care needs. Do you have enough food? And we have a couple of food options for families to choose from. Do you need childcare? Can we try to connect you to local agencies that can help you? things of that nature. And then the third are social justice issues. We want to make sure every family is registered to vote, and we're going to help if they haven't. We want to make sure that families know how to request their absentee ballot, and we're going to help if they haven't. We want to make sure families got counted in the census, and we're going to help if they haven't. So those social justice issues that are so important for our community will be part of that care plan. And then the third piece of this is the resource pickup. So families will have a scheduled time when they can come to their children's schools and pick up those school supplies that they told us they need, pick up the technology they told us they need, maybe pick up things that they left in the school building when everything shut down. I never went in and cleaned out my locker. I never picked up the stuff from my cubby in my kindergarten room, for example. Pick up free books that the Cleveland Teachers Union has gotten for every student in the district. Get, some back to school bling, a bookmark, and that sort of stuff to really set the stage. And so those live pickup events, again, socially distanced, will be scheduled during that last week as well. So those three things are designed to make sure that kids and families are really prepared to move into the formal learning and that we're all in this together for the first 9 weeks.
And so, Eric, many families are wondering, do they need to buy uniforms at this time?
No, we are in a remote learning environment. We have so many other things that people need to spend their resources on. I'm asking families not to spend their money on uniforms right now. Having said that, we still want kids getting up in good habits, putting on school appropriate clothes for their classes, put on their play clothes later. So we want to keep building those good habits even though we're home, but we don't think families should spend their money on uniforms right now.
And many families rely on the district for meals, and the district has been so great with the 22 meal sites through this pandemic by providing meals. What's the meal plan going to look like in the fall?
Well, we have 2 meal plans for the fall for these first 9 weeks. The first looks very much like what we'd already done. Families can have a daily pickup at any K-8 school in the district. It does not have to be the school that they attend. And they can pick up all meals for their entire family at a single school. So the way it would work is that a family would go to the closest school. They would pick up a lunch for today and a breakfast for tomorrow for each of their children on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. On Tuesday, they will pick up 2 lunches and 2 breakfasts for each of their children, because on Wednesday we will be closing and sanitizing and restocking those facilities. The advantage, obviously, is that you can pick it up daily. It allows us to have a much wider variety of menu choices, a lot more of the fresh foods that we really like to provide our students. The disadvantage is it is a daily pickup, and we know that. So the second option, if families don't want to have a daily pickup or it's too inconvenient, is that they can go to their nearest high school. And again, it doesn't have to be a high school they attend or even have high school children, but they can go to the nearest high school on Tuesdays, and they can pick up meals for the entire week for each of their children. So 5 lunches, 5 breakfasts for each child. The disadvantage here is we'll have less variety, less choice, because we'll need to rely on foods that have a longer preserved life so that they last a week. We will continue to work with the food bank and make sure we provide extra backpacks and things for summer, weekends and things of that nature as well. And we will have expanded pickup hours from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that it's more flexible for families also.
And if a parent still hasn't registered their child for school yet, what are the options? What can they still do?
So registration is easier than ever. You can go to choosecmsd.org and sign up in our portal. And it is a self-help portal. You'll get a PIN, you'll go in and you'll pick the school that you're interested in. It'll ask you to submit your documents. You take a picture of them on your cell phone and you email them to a Dropbox essentially that securely stores them. And then one of our recruitment team will reach out and walk you through the process. They'll help you if you have an early childhood student, if you have a student with disability, an English learner, doesn't matter. You can also call 838-ENROLL, ENRL, or 3675, 838-ENROLL, and talk live to an enrollment specialist who will also take you through that whole experience. Or you can go to the school. Again, we urge you to please make an appointment, but go directly to your school and the school can enroll you as well. So lots of ways to enroll. We're happy to help and looking forward to getting everybody enrolled in school. And particularly, don't forget, preschoolers and kindergartners were not pre-enrolled, so we've got to get them enrolled. And if you want that SAIST education scholarship that we offer, you must be a resident of the district who attends our high schools grades 9 through 12. So you want that 9th grader enrolled as soon as possible as well.
And finally, as you've mentioned earlier, none of us have lived through a pandemic, and we are living it day by day and discovering new things, new challenges possibly. What is it that you want to say to caregivers and parents as we begin the school year and remote learning?
Well, I'm going to go back to what I already said. We made this decision for 9 weeks for a reason, because we're in this together and we can all get through 9 weeks. We don't know what 18 weeks or 36 weeks or a year from now is going to look like. I don't know, so I can't expect a family to know. But I can expect that we hang on to each other tightly and support each other really well for 9 weeks. And in that 9 weeks, I want every family to stay focused on being good moms and dads and caregivers and not get upset about not being trained teachers. That's not their job. It's our job, and we got it. I want you to remember all those things that you can make a learning experience, walks that you take together, the things you do in your house, watching TV and talking about what you see, any of those things to make a learning environment. And then remembering that we haven't done this before. And so there's absolutely no reason not to ask for help when you need it, and know that the district and the community has lots of resources and wants to be helpful. But sometimes we don't know what you need if you don't let us know. So please do ask for help. And then finally, just stay safe, healthy, and well. Keep that mask on, use that 6 feet social distancing, try to watch that tea space that we're not supposed to touch. Wash your hands, it's better than sanitizing. Wash your hands 20 seconds. You can go out on YouTube and find me a video of me singing the alphabet song with you if you need to, but take good care of yourself and others.
And that is a great video, by the way, I must say. Well, I'm all done with my questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Take good care.
Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. How will you know 20 seconds? It's simple. Sing one of your favorite songs, like this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Won't you sing along with me?